warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin, wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Professor Emeritus Datuk Jamil Osman, learned scholars, Dr. Hisham Abdul Talib, Professor Anis Ahmad, Professor Umar Hassan Kasure, Professor Ibrahim Zain. This sometime we have not met this for some time. I'm very happy to be here. I think I will share my screen. Let me share my screen. First of all, I would like to thank. I would also like to thank IIIT for giving me this honor to be part of the memorial lecture tonight. I think I am the, I'm a very junior compared to all my fellow speakers tonight. Nevertheless, like what Datuk Jamil mentioned, I have the opportunity to work together with Prof. Malik in the Department of Psychology. Actually, let me share some slides. I first heard of Prof. Malik in '79 when I was studying psychology at Texas A&M University. I consider him my teacher, my mentor, and at times the advices he has given me makes him more like an elder brother to me. Somehow, I have a place actually in my heart for Sudanese brothers. All the brothers from Sudan that I have encountered while I was studying in the US, especially at U of I, University of Illinois, they were not only very committed in Islamic activities, which draws me actually to be involved with them, but most importantly, they have very good characters and what we call qalbun salim, good-hearted, stated in the Quran. I met several brothers from Sudan and also some in the Middle East. I'm not saying that only Sudan brothers are good, but also the others. But in this case, because we are talking about Professor Malik Badri, I met several brothers and from Sudan and who knew Professor Malik Badri personally. And because they know I'm studying psychology, so they always talk about Prof. Malik at that time when I was in the States. To name a few, you have here Dr. Abdul Halim Hamid and Dr. Siddiq Attaras and also Muhammad Nur Sudan. But in this picture, the third person is actually Dr. Abdurrahman Yamani. When I got married in August of 1980, my wife Yasmin Anum showed me a book of Professor Malik Badri, Islam and Alcoholism, that she bought when she attended the MSA convention in Indiana in 1978. Then I became more interested as I also received this book from a friend of mine. This book was published in '79. I think everyone has been talking about this book tonight. When I came back from the US in 1982, my intention was to join the IIUM in the Department of Psychology. However, at that time, IIUM just started with only 2 kuliahs, Kuliah of Laws and Kuliah of Economics and Management, I think. So I had to go somewhere else. I joined USM for 3 years and then went to Australia to do my master's in clinical psychology, returning in 1988 and then was posted to USM Kubang Krian. And then I heard Prof. Malik is in Malaysia. And in 1991, I heard Prof. Malik has joined IIUM as a professor in clinical psychology. The department was at that time headed by Professor Shamsur Rahman Khan. So, and then in the same year, in October 1991, USM Penang Medical Muslim Student Association, Muslim Staff Association invited Prof. Malik to conduct a 2-day workshop on psychology and counseling. Fortunately, I was invited by Prof. Zahari Ismail, who was the president of the association at that time, to chair one of Professor Malik's lectures. Not only I was delighted to be part of this workshop, but also I believe this was history as a starting point of Islamization of psychology in Malaysia. The following day, we made a visit around Penang and stopped by the Sheikh Tahir Falak Center. In this picture, you can also see Prof. Dr. Mahmoud Rashidan, one of the founders of MSA and the USA and Canada, who was also invited for the program. Then in 1992, I resigned from USM so that I can join IIUM. As I wanted to learn more from Prof. Malik Badri, at that time, Prof. Malik, expanded further the course on Islam and psychology, which was initiated by Prof. Shamsur Rahman based on Prof. Malik's book, The Dilemma of Muslim Psychologists. Prof. Malik also introduced several postgraduate courses in psychology, especially psychotherapy. And while teaching these courses, he was introducing the Islamic elements in the mainstream of psychology that most of us were taught. In July 1994, he was seconded to the International Institute of Islamic Thought and Civilization, ISTAC, and there he developed some more courses on the contributions of the early Muslim scholars, philosophers and physicians like Al-Ghazali, Ibn Khaldun and Al-Balkhi. His course on Al-Balkhi, as we know, is now published and translated. In 1997, Professor Malik and the Department of Psychology at IIUM established the International Association for Muslim Psychologists through a conference. And the office bearers, as depicted in these slides, you have also, if you look at this slide, you notice that there are a number of other office bearers who are from the Malaysian Psychological Association. I think this is one thing unique about Prof. Malik. He's able to gather people and work together. And then he was elected the president and re-elected in 2011. And later on, as what Dato Jamil mentioned, he forcefully asked me to carry on. And then later on, Dr. Bagus from Indonesia took over. Okay. All right. You see, one thing about Prof. Malik is that he is actually, he goes here and there. He's, we cannot keep up with him. He's so active. And so now he was also, at that time, he was also the Dean of ISTAC in 2004. So to me, I joined IIUM and he went to ISTAC. So I was left, and then he went to Pakistan as a professor in Islamabad in 2006. And what happened was that I still meet, and in what happened to me was when in 2007, actually 2007, at that time, I was about to retire at 56. And I had an offer from the University Pendidikan Sultan Idris to set up their psychology program. And I seek the guidance of Prof. Malik. And he advised me that I should go. See? So I left IIUM, and however, I still do meet whenever I have the opportunity. I meet him at the masjid, and we have a chit chat and talk and all that, and contact. And then, however, then I realized we keep on contacts there. And I realized that the invaluable work of Prof. Malik had to be compiled or written so that it can benefit many people, especially students of psychology. So I decided to interview him. And due to his busy schedule, the interview spanned over a few months. And alhamdulillah, we have a 14-page interview, was published in the Intellectual Discourse in August 2015. This was published in Intellectual Discourse. Some highlights from this interview are how Prof. Malik developed his interest in Islamization of psychology, his early experiences in the University of Beirut, the writing of scholars that influenced him to go on the attack towards the secular Western psychology. And I've also asked him to, mention his experiences with Western psychologists and how he overcome them, because this is very important for new psychologists, Muslim psychologists, to develop methods of how to overcome this. The details of how he modified and altered Wolpe's systematic desensitization. This is a very significant thing. Wolpe is considered world-renowned, and Prof. Malik is able to modify and alter a little bit of what Wolpe's systematic desensitization, and his work was published actually in the American Journal of Psychology. I also asked him about his translation of Al-Balkhi's Sustenance of the Soul. And then I also asked him, is the Islamization and adaptation of cognitive behavior therapy being the only task left for Islamizing psychology? He answered to me, that cannot be the final aim. Cognitive behavior therapy has passed through 2 waves, and now the 3rd wave is bringing it nearer to spiritual therapy through mindfulness that has its roots actually in Buddhist tradition of acceptance and commitment that reminds us of the religious acceptance and predestination. In mindfulness, the person is advised to meditate and focus on his emotions, thoughts, and sensations. Prof. Malik added that acceptance and commitment simply mean that one should accept what is not within his control and commit himself to do what can improve and enrich his life. This looks like what we are used with our Muslim ulamas, he said. So Prof. Malik also cautioned that with the influence of positive psychology and emotional intelligence, a 4th wave of spiritual therapy is imminent. And looking at religious orientation therapy, Prof. Malik suggested that with the increasing acceptance of spirituality, no CBT training should avoid this integrative approach of religious in its curriculum. So I think this is quite significant for us to carry on the work that he has, he has planned for. So I also urge, actually, if there are some psychology students, to read this article, from the Islamic Discourse. It is available online. During 2015 onwards, we will see that very much activities among the Muslim psychologists in the International Association of Muslim Psychologists and beyond. And the following slides show several conferences and activities that was held and participated. And you can see Prof. Malik has contributed immensely. although he does go and consult, continue assessing psychology programs. Here he is actually our external assessor for the psychology program at the University Pendidikan Sultan Idris. And there's one seminar here in 2015, Enhancing Human Happiness, and the international conference on Islamic psychology. And then you have this, in 2016, this international, we have a declaration during this international conference, the Declaration of Human Dignity in 2016, where the fundamentals of principle to preserve human dignity and civilization. This was signed by all the speakers from several foreign countries. We have the signatories as Prof. Malik, Professor Zubair Bashir. You have also Dr. Evelyn Wittrup from Germany, Professor Hanan Dover from Australia, and then Professor Muhammad Tahir Khalili from Pakistan, Professor Dr. Amna Al-Faqi from Sudan also, and you have Professor Muhammad Al-Ghazali, Saudi Arabia, Dr. Ali Risman, Jakarta, and Dr. Bagus Riono, and some other international participants. In April of 2017, the IAMP and the International Institute of Islamic Thought invited Prof. Malik to share his reflections on Islamic knowledge, Islamization of knowledge through 50 years of lifelong journey. It was a very enlightenment talk that he gave. It's actually uploaded on YouTube. One thing, it actually amazed me that in this talk, what he mentioned towards the last, he said that I never planned all this thing. This whatever that he has done was actually planned by Allah. So it's so humble. I think we see this legacy of a very humble scholar from Malik like this. And we have some of the group photographs during that night. And then this is also another conference that Prof. Malik attended and gave a keynote address in 2018. This is the Muslim Mental Health Conference in UPM. And this is my last picture with Prof. Malik in 22nd of November in 2020. So with that, I think I would like to make, I pray that Allah give, barakah to Prof. Malik and maybe give him more barakah and return him to Jannah, inshallah. Ameen. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.